I'm back, and this is video 87 of my ACS vanilla gameplay series. And in the last video I showed you guys how I was able to obtain 60 million belief on all of my Shendao disciples, so that I could eventually use that belief to cultivate this 50 million ESP for my disciples. So let's just start off by going through and looking through all of my disciples just to see how much belief they have. And then the goal is to cultivate all the way up into the next cultivation stage so that we can do this wise breakthrough, because that's the goal. And as you can see, my disciples are already capped out on mental state. However, they cannot move forward unless they have reached the attainment state. And I say that because in this description right here it says that to seek an empty mind, you need to keep the mental state at 500 and distress lower than 10 during the mind fasting after reaching the attainment state for 10 days. And this is the stage that they're referencing. I don't know why my game says pre-attainment. Maybe that's just a difference in laws, but this is the stage that they're talking about. Or maybe I have a mod that's changing the name or whatever. But anyways, I just need to get to this next breakthrough, which requires my cultivators to cultivate with 50 million experience. So right now my cultivators have celestial meditation, and I'm looking to get to this bottleneck right here, which is Edict Ghost Messenger, because once they get to the Edict Ghost Messenger bottleneck, which is at 5 million cultivation experience, they will unlock the meditation of Unification, which will cultivate way faster than celestial meditation. So pretty much that's what I'm doing. So let's look at my disciples. So we have 86 million, 85 million, 71 million, 77 million, 73 million, and 71 million. So we all have enough to cultivate, and I'm just going to move forward and have my guys do the celestial meditation. And then to be clear about celestial meditation, even though I know that I explained this in the last video, I'm sure that no one remembers that. Celestial meditation gains experience at a rate of 500 per second, right? And we need to get 5 million ESP. So if we do 5 million divided by 500, then we have 10,000 seconds, and then that's end game seconds. So 600 seconds is a day, so you would then furtherly divide that by 600, and you would get around 16.6 days. So pretty much this is the point where I would have to wait for 16 days in order to get to that bottleneck. And actually I am recording this video later because I did all of this earlier, and I had my mic on mute at the time. So I actually do have save files where I already have gotten to this bottleneck. So right now I would typically, just get through this and then, cut out the footage, but luckily I already have a save file where I'm at that bottleneck. So I'm just gonna go and then jump to that save file. And this is why we always save scum, because even if you record for 2 hours and you lose all of the footage, you still have something that you can work with. So I have this save file right here in which my Shendao disciples got through to the ghost bottleneck. So in my last save file I was on around day 509, so this one should be about 16 days after that. And as you can see, we're on 527, which is about 18 days after 509. And all of my disciples have reached the breakthrough point. I remember that when Shendao disciples do celestial meditation for like a certain amount of time, they stop doing it, and I think that I didn't notice that one of my Shendaos stopped using celestial meditation for a good while, so that's why it's like a day or two after was expected. So now that my Shendaos are at Ghost Messenger breakthrough, I can now perform the breakthrough, and all of the Shendao breakthroughs at this stage will take 2 days of gameplay time. So I'm just gonna trigger the breakthrough for all of my Shendaos and fast forward, or not fast forward, but I'm gonna let my game run for 2 days so that you guys see what it looks like once the Shendao gets to that breakthrough point. So we have Shendao 3 breaking through, and then Shendao 4. The breakthrough menu is just a little bit too high, a little bit too low. Breakthrough, Now for Shendao 5. Okay. I am misclicking like crazy. Now for Shendao 6. So now my game is probably going to save 6 times. Why am I clicking this? I don't know why this feels like so close. Maybe my mouse sensitivity is different. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. So now that my Shendaos are doing their breakthroughs, I'm just going to let the game run for 2 days. And then, as I said earlier, I do have a save file where I've unlocked all of these things already, so I don't really need to care about the side things that are happening as much as I would normally, because I'm just on this save file temporarily so that I can show you guys what happens once the Shendao gets to the breakthrough. So I'm pretty much just going to ignore everything and then let these 2 days go by quickly. So many interruptions. So one cool thing about this breakthrough is that you unlock the meditation of unification, and you also unlock the ability to revive disciples, which is really good. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that as well. I have so many pandas right now. So every time they get hurt or something like that, my game is pausing. And that's because mainly because I'm on Swift mode. So Swift mode is the only one that does that. But if I go to 10x speed, then it wouldn't pause on every small thing. It would only pause on pop-ups. So like if I just run out 10x speed like this, then it would be good. But I prefer to be on Swift mode, and I'll just get through all of this. We're almost done though. Let me use channel cloud dispelling to remove this rain. And we're about 90% done this breakthrough. Alright, so now that all of my Shendaos are broken through, they have unlocked 2 different guards since they reached the Ghost Messenger phase. And these 2 guards are called Ferryman, and they're called Darkmountain Guardian. So right here is the name of the NPC that will basically work as the guard. So you can have like different NPCs that you will recruit, and then you will assign them to be recruited as a certain guard. So Meng Shengi is a Ferryman guard, and He Sao Mei is a Darkmountain guard, basically. And that's how that works, and I'll show you guys how to recruit disciples later on. But let's just focus on this. So now that my Shendao have reached the Edict Ghost Messenger phase, I can create a guards temple, or I was always able to create a guards temple, but now I have guards that I can add to the temple. So I can now create this guards temple and then use the guards temple to assign these guards to my Shendao, or equip these guards. And these are default guards that they just get from the breakthrough stage. So the Ferryman guard is really interesting because this one allows you to use Miracle Resurrection spell, and that one is really overpowered. And then the Darkmountain guard is pretty much what you would use to cultivate even further. So I can show you guys what the Darkmountain guard looks like. So once you have the Darkmountain guard, you get this meditation of unification spell, which will make your disciple meditate at a really quick rate, but the conversion rate is 0.8x speed, so you would need 1.25 more belief in order to get a certain amount of cultivation experience. But as you can see, this is taking way less than 16 days in order to get 5 million experience. The Ghost Messenger breakthrough is at 5 million, and that one took 16 days. So let's see how long it takes for me to get to 10 million, which would be the same amount. And I'm at 10 million already, and it hasn't even been a day or 2. So that's the difference between meditation of unification and celestial meditation. So then besides that, once you're at this breakthrough point, I would say that you're pretty much good to start to create a Shendao relic for your Shendao disciples, but you will still need to get to the attainment stage because you need to be able to remove obsessions to add more states, and you need to have 8 extra states. So right here, these are my extra states that are above 48. So I have 51 states, and you need to have 8 more of these, or 8 of these in total, to get all of the legacy modifiers for your Shendao artifact, if you want to use the legacy modifier. So, but I would just want to max out my Shendaos just so I can show you guys pretty much how to do that. And even so, they wouldn't be completely maxed because I'm not using the given up obsession, even though I could. But anyways, moving forward, this resurrection spell is something that a Shendao disciple can use to revive any disciple that's dead, right? And when you use this resurrection spell, the Shendao disciple gains 10 divinity. However, this isn't really an issue if you have the talisman of divine concealment, because that talisman will lock your divinity to be at 98%, and that can't go up unless you go on restrained and then you mistakenly go up to 100 divinity. So eventually when you're playing Shendao and you're playing later on, then you'll have to keep your Shendao disciple on balance instead of restrained, because restrained will pretty much make them ascend. But as far as using resurrection spell, you're good to just use it as much as you can. And to use it, it costs 7 obsession gems. As you can see, I have 50 obsession gems, and I was able to get these obsession gems by buying them from sects. So if you just check sects tree every 10 days, then there is a slight possibility that sects can have obsession gems for sale. So that's super useful, because they will sell you 25 obsession gems, and that's the same as clearing 25 obsessions, which is significantly more difficult than just buying obsession gems. And they're pretty cheap. I think they're like 25 spirit stone each. And then besides that, if you want to also farm obsession gems, you will have to invite disciples from other sects, because a lot of times they do have obsessions or just random NPCs. So a lot of times, like the elders and the elders and other sects will have a lot of obsessions, and you can get obsession gems by clearing those for them as well. But I will show you guys what the resurrection spell looks like. So for the resurrection spell, you can pretty much just kill a disciple and revive them. So right now I'll have my Lady Cloud go and kill my beloved pillar, my 7 slaughtering sword disciple. So let's see who will win in the fight. It's obviously my Nimbus disciple. I don't even know if they will fight back even. Oh, he's fighting back. He's trying, and he's dying. So now that my 7 slaughtering sword disciple is dying, or they're dead, I can now go to my Shendao 1, because they have the resurrection spell, and I can revive them. So now if I use this on my 7 slaughtering sword tiger, then my Shendao 1 took 7 obsession gems, and they were able to use that to revive this guy. So now, as you can see, they were resurrected. So yeah, I didn't even know that they get this move buff, but yeah, they get a move buff that says I'm resurrected, ha ha ha, which is pretty overpowered. So as long as you have obsession gems, then you can revive your disciples. And then besides that, there's also a level 2 spell to this. So if I go into here, I need to figure out how to get the level 2 spell actually. So if we go to this guard, then it says, let's see. Okay, this is the Darkmountain guard. I want to see the Ferryman guard. So you learned the resurrection spell. So there's actually another resurrection spell, and I don't really know where it's at, or I don't remember where it's at, but that one will actually revive everyone in your sect at the cost of 100 divinity. So let's see if I can just find that. Learn the whereabouts. No. Illuminate a plant. Mood multiplier. Ralying, no. Nope. Yeah, if I come across that spell, then I'll show you guys how to use that as well. But it's pretty much the same as this. However, it's just a more powerful resurrection spell, and that one will cost, I think, a bigger amount of obsession gems, and it will cost 100% divinity to literally revive every disciple that's dead on your map, which is pretty overpowered. So Shendao are super useful. And then another thing that Shendao get is this Hall of Ralying, right? And then if you upgrade this Hall of Ralying, then you get so let me first explain what Hall of Ralying does. So Hall of Ralying, it will increase the material gains of agencies that the Shendao disciple is assigned to. So if you have this Temple of Miracles, then you can assign the Shendao disciple to an agency so that they can collect belief from it. And then if you have this Hall of Ralying, then you can also upgrade the rate of which these agencies create loot, basically. So as you can see, level 1, level 2, and level 3, they all just increase the base material output. So I'm just going to increase this to level 3 and then assign Shendao 1 to Mount South. So now that Mount South is assigned with Shendao 1, if I go into Shendao 1, I can use this spell right here. So let's see, this Divine Ralying one will increase the output by 10%, by 100% within 10 days. So that means for 10 days, my agency will output 100% output, and then this is 200% within 4 days, and then this is 500% within 1 day. So you can 5 times the output of your agencies with these things, and they only cause belief, and it's only 50,000. Like, your Shendaos will get 50,000 belief within 1 day, like before you can even blink, especially if they're assigned to an agency. So I'll use this spell right here, and now if we go into power and then we go to Mount South, then you will be able to see that this has a times 6 daily output. As you can see, it's in like white, so it's kind of hard, so you have to like really look at it. But let's see, yeah, so it's really just on this output menu, but as you can see, they're now generating this times 6, and this is reflected in here. So now we're generating 280 influence. So this is really where Shendao's utility comes into play. They're so overpowered for this, and I forget if they can stack, but let me try this out. Okay, so if I just did Divine Ralying, which increases it by 100%, and then I'll do Wishful Fulfilling Spell, which increases it by 200%. So it looks like they don't stack, but I mean, yeah, so it just resets it. So that would just, so anyways, you could still just use the maximum power one because they don't stack. But yeah, 500% output on all of your agencies is pretty insane. So I'll show you guys how you could hook up the Shendao disciple up to multiple agencies. So then it's just based on how many Temple of Miracles that you have. So you would just add another Temple of Miracles and then another one, right? Or however many you want to have based on however many agencies you have. And then this one doesn't have a Shendao statue location, so let's see. I may need to build a ground area, and to build a Shendao ground area you just need to have, or to build a Shendao statue you just need to have the agency to be level 2. So I'm just going to build 2 more just to show you guys some more of how good Shendaos are for agencies. So if you could just unlock that, like even if you're not making a strong Shendao, then that's just something that's super duper useful. And then besides that, I'm going to continue to cultivate Shendao 1 just to show you guys how quickly it would take for them to get to that bottleneck using meditation of unification. And as I said earlier, I already did this before, so I do have save files where I have all of my Shendaos that are fully cultivated up to the highest cultivation level, and I'll show you guys that after I finish showing you guys the overpoweredness of this Hall of Ralying. So let's just check the status on these statues. Okay, they're about halfway built, so I'm just going to continue to let my game run for a little bit more. And as you can see, Shendao 1 has already reached the limit, so now they can move forward and do a breakthrough and do the Ghost Sergeant breakthrough, which will also unlock some other guards that the Shendao could equip to increase their stats and things like that. But the main ones that you can like utilize for utility or unlock that this Ghost Messenger phase, the ones that you unlock here are mainly for like increasing their match chi, artifact power, and things like that, which are also pretty good. So let's see, are these ready yet? Okay, they're about 90% ready. Just gonna let my game run for a little bit more. It doesn't even take that long for these statues to be built. So now that we have these other statues, I'm gonna assign Shendao 1 to this statue, and then I think it was Central Plane. So because Shendao 1 has 3 Hall of Miracles, they can be assigned to multiple agencies, or at least 3. So now, if I was to use Hall of Ralying on this guy, or the highest tier 1, which is level 3 1, I increase my output by 500%, and now my output is going to go from 220 per day in terms of influence to 480 influence per day, and now I'm producing 440 wheat per day. So one Shendao can really change how your agencies are producing drastically, like insanely. And mind you, I only did that with 3 agencies. There are 11 agencies, or 12 or 13, I don't know, it's around that number. So just imagine like how crazy you can get this to be. And I can show you guys, but I'm just too lazy to set up all of those agencies right now, but you get the point. So anyways, back to the main part of the Shendao training. So now that we've unlocked this meditation of unification, we would now cultivate into all the way up into the bottleneck, and I do have a save file where I've gotten to that point. So now I'm just going to go back into my saves and show you guys what that looks like, and what to pretty much do once you get to this bottleneck. So I have this save file right here, which is day 539. So I was able to get through to the end of this cultivation stage in about 30 days, and that's because each of these breakthroughs take 2 days of time, and then there's time that you need to cultivate as well. So let's see. So now all of my Shendaos are at the top of the cultivation stage, so now they're at the transcendence breakthrough point. So now I'll do this breakthrough and show you guys what to do once you get to the next phase. So again, I'm just going to do this breakthrough and then let my game run for 2 days. Shendao 3, Shendao 4, and Shendao 5. And then Shendao 6. So once you get through this breakthrough, oh yeah, also I do want to point out that my Shendao, they do have even more belief, even though I have spent belief on something. I forget what I did, spent belief on something, but because these breakthroughs take 2 days, oh, I spent belief on cultivating, so I spent at least 62 million belief on cultivating, but as you can see, these guys are now still at 59 million belief just because of the amount of days that have went by. And then I can show you guys the different guards that these guys have as well, or at least the guards that they unlocked from their other cultivation stage. So now they have some more guards unlocked, and these are the ones that they had before. So like this guard right here increases their artifact chi cap and artifact chi recovery rate. This increases mass chi, chi sense, spell power, barrier power, and things like that. Then this right here, white judge, increases spell power and spell cost, and nether judge, this one increases mass chi. So the nether judge is actually the main one that you would use for your nether Shendao, or the black judge as well. So the black judge right here will make your Shendao have increased artifact power, artifact chi recovery rate, and things like that. And then you also want the white judge and another judge, because this will increase mass chi. So if I just equip this nether judge on the Shendao disciple, let's see, I just had to make sure that was a new one. So I just equipped nether judge on Shendao 6, and now they have 131,000 mass chi just from that nether judge, and that was because that this guard's temple was only level 1. So if I were to upgrade this to like a higher level, and it's costing a lot of belief, so I just want to be careful. I increased it to level 9, so now this guy has 1 million mass chi. So as you can see, Shendao disciples get really overpowered really quickly, and their chi recovery is also based on their belief. So my Shendao disciple is utilizing their belief in order to regenerate their chi, but they're not even running out of belief. It's still going up really fast, and this is why Shendaos are really good for formation auxiliaries, is because they have the highest chi recovery in the game. So when formation pillar starts to lose chi, the Shendao just uses their chi recovery to just recover their chi. And Shendaos, they cannot be formation pillars because they're not Shendao disciples. However, they can be formation auxiliaries. Anyways, we're just going to continue to let my guys get through this breakthrough, and I do want to care about the small things now. But as you can see, I just casually made that Shendao have 1 million chi. So yeah, that's pretty appalling to say the least. And I have a lot of animals that are dying because I decided to switch my room to be ominous so that my disciple can collect cursed feng shui essences instead. And then also I decided that I want to kill these pandas because all these pop-ups were annoying me. So we're just going to get through this breakthrough. And then I'll show you guys what to do after that point and what to do to get to the next breakthrough level. We're about 70% done this breakthrough. Strange little elf. I kind of like it better on 10s speed because Swift mode was so annoying because everything would stop my game. Oh, a tiger wants to join my sect. I'll accept. I think I do need some more outer disciples, even though I have no reason to use them. Let's try to do Swift mode. See how long we can last on this. Okay, looks like we're getting through. Alright, so now all of my Shendaos have broken through to this attainment stage. So the thing about the attainment stage is that this is the last breakthrough point, right? And if you were to do a breakthrough after this, then that would basically be ascending your Shendao disciple. So you definitely don't want to do that. So once you get to the attainment stage, you can trigger these detachment tribulations, which will remove one of the sessions that your Shendao has. So right now I could do 2 detachment tribulations, and then once you finish the detachment tribulation, you would gain an extra one of these blocks. So, and I just need 8 in order to get all of the legacy modifiers. So that's what I plan on doing. However, it is very important when you first do this attainment stage breakthrough for you to not use celestial meditation, because this only needs 1 experience in order to get there, right? And for the next breakthrough, you do want to kind of maximize your mental state. So as a Shendao disciple, at the final stage, you will always be accumulating the anxious obsession, because this obsession requires you to remain at a breakthrough state without performing a breakthrough. So a Shendao will naturally always be accumulating this anxious obsession if you do that. So you want to avoid turning your Shendao on indulgence, because indulgence makes your Shendao do many different things. So they will run around, they'll like eat a lot of food, they'll do leisure activities, and they'll also cultivate. So if you turn your Shendao on indulgence, then there is a chance that your Shendao will get that 1 ESP, which can make things really annoying. And you definitely don't want to get that 1 ESP, because we still have 1 breakthrough to get through after we get through the wise breakthrough. So you just want to be conservative on the amount of mental state that you're losing for now. So now I'll just move forward and show you guys how to get through this wise Shendao breakthrough. So pretty much to get through this wise Shendao breakthrough, I'll first read the requirements. So this one says it will only be raised if the intelligence, okay, so this says only the mental state will be raised if the intelligence is greater than 8. So some of my Shendao disciples do not have intelligence higher than 8, but we're not worried about that because we have talismans in order to raise our mental state by 100 by just brute force and using a talisman. So we don't really care about having over 8 intelligence. And then the next part of this says to seek an empty mind, which is based focus on what you need to do to get through the breakthrough. You need to keep the mental state at 500, which will be easy because we have the talismans, and we need to keep the stress lower than 10 during mind fasting after reaching the attainment state for 10 days. So this is a 10-day breakthrough, and you just need to have your distress lower than 10. So so to get through this breakthrough, I would recommend you either do mind fasting. You want to be mind fasted for 10 days, right? So that means you need to do this mind fasting for 5 days, and then you will have the buff for the same amount of time that you mind fasted, so that would count as 10 days. However, it still takes a little bit of time for your Shendao to have less than 10 distress, so you also want to take that into account. So I would say you will mind fast for 7 days, or you will mind fast for like 12 days if you want to do all the way in the sect. And obviously you will mind fast for 7 days if you wanted to like use the extra 3 days to go off map, basically. So, and then if you mind fast for 12 days just in the sect, you will still have 12 more days to mind fast for the days where your distress didn't get to under 10. And then besides that, if you have low divinity, then you can mind fast on restrained pretty fine, and you don't really have to worry about anything, because usually when people get to this breakthrough point, they are having like really high divinity, like close to 90% divinity. So this breakthrough gets really hard for players that have waited a long time to get their Shendao disciples to this breakthrough point. So it can really be a struggle. So if you do mind fasting on restrained, then your Shendao will ascend. So you have no other option but to do mind fasting on balance, right? However, the problem with mind fasting on balance is that when your Shendao is on balance, then their energy bar will go down. So then that will ruin things. So the only alternative for that is for you to use a talisman of lasting joy. So this talisman right here will make it so that your disciple doesn't run out of energy bar. So if you're in a situation where you have really high divinity, then you definitely want to use that talisman of lasting joy. So then there's also the problem with using the talisman of lasting joy is that you have one less talisman slot to increase your mental state. So the solution for that is for you to pretty much go into my previous video where I show you guys how to go use the sect leader and the branch leader debuff to go back into the still stage and increase your mental state so that it's at 500 naturally. So basically, if you have really high divinity to the point where your Shendao needs to stay on balance, then you need to use the lasting joy talisman, and you also need to make sure that your Shendao has a mental state that's high enough so that they can get through this breakthrough while having one less mental state talisman. But if you have low divinity, then you can just do this breakthrough on restraint with no problem, and you would just mind fast for as long as you need to retain a mind fasting buff for 10 days. So right now I do have my generation 2 turtle right here, and that's to all of my my Shendaos. So I'm just gonna have this guy use wise detachment on my Shendaos so that I can reduce their distress levels, and then I'm gonna have the mind fast for 7 days, because I do want to do 3 days outside of the sect. So we're going to use wise detachment, and again, wise detachment just reduces your Shendao's distress by removing temporary moodlets. And now I'll have my Shendao also increase their mental state. So Hadron is also being annoying by feeding my Shendao, my disciples things. Let's see. Yeah, go play with toys. Alright, so now I'm going to increase my Shendao's mental state so that they can do the breakthrough. I think the divine comprehension, and then story. Then I guess I can also equip the lasting joy or the prosperity talisman just to max out their mental state even more. Divine comprehension, story, everlasting prosperity, and then obviously the divine comprehension and the story talisman are maxing out my Shendao's mental state. So instead of the everlasting prosperity, if I really cared about it, then I could also change that up and use the heavensent talisman, which would increase my Shendao's intelligence so that they would get to that 8 intelligence so that they're not losing mental state per day. However, the mental state loss from having less than 8 intelligence is very small. Like this guy is only losing 0.08 mental state per day. So I'm more interested in keeping my Shendaos at a pretty high mental state. but it would be equally right for you to use the heavensent talisman if you wanted to do that. So divine comprehension, story, everlasting prosperity, and now let's start mind fasting on these guys. Again, I just want to do 7 days because I think it might take around 2 days for them to get under 10 distress, and I almost clicked that button and I almost messed up. If I clicked that button, then I would have gotten that ESP. So let's be very careful that I do not do that. So mind fasting for 7 days. And my Shendaos will be mind fasting on restrained because they have enough divinity to do so. What is this? Oh, this is the one. This is the one that resurrects all dying and fallen characters. So this one costs 36 obsession gems, but this will revive everyone. I wonder why they have that. Maybe it was from the nether card. Let's see. Yep. So you need to unlock this nether judge in order to get the Shendao miracle that can resurrect everyone on the map, which is absolutely insane. But it says that it does give the Shendao 100 divinity, and I'm not sure if this will bring them to 100 divinity or it will stop them at 98 divinity. I can check that out later after I save my game or whatever, but I just need to do this mind fasting to get through this breakthrough. So right now my Shendao sits in mind fasting on balance and they have 100 energy, but it should start to slowly go down. It's either energy or the leisure bar that goes down. So this leisure just went to 53 and now it's at 52. Yeah, okay, so it wasn't the energy bar, it was the leisure bar. So that's pretty much why you want to mind fast on restrained, because if I mind fast on restrained, then my leisure bar doesn't go down. But if you have no other option, then you would mind fast on balance with the lasting joy talisman. So as you can see, it's still at 52 and it's not going down at all. And also, if your leisure bar goes down, then your Shendao will stop mind fasting. So that's the main thing, is that you will like ruin your mind fasting buff by doing that, and you definitely won't get through to the breakthrough. And plus, when you're on restrained, that also reduces their moodlets by 25%. So it's just really good to be on restrained in general, so that you can keep your distress very low. So my Shendaos are just reducing their distress, and you know, once their distress is reduced, they'll get through this breakthrough. This guy's crazy with hunger. It's okay. So as you can see, none of their bars are going down anymore. And then also, if you do this off map, then their bars don't go down either. So like, if you could mind fast on restraint for just a little bit and then go off map, then you could do mind fasting on balance too. Or I mean, you can't mind fast off map, but you could be on balance. So I guess the alternative would be to mind fast on balance for like 5 days and then go off map and then complete the rest on balance, but you wouldn't have to worry about having that talisman equipped. I don't know, someone tell me the optimal way to do it. I just know that if you go off map, then you won't lose your leisure bar while on balance as well. So this is why I did 7 days, because it is taking my guys a little bit more time for them to get to under 10 distress, which is completely fine. And I have pandas dying and things like that. And we're slowly accumulating this mind fasting buff, which is reducing my distress. Come on, pandas. Stop being hurt. My disciple is still getting some intrinsic life essence over there, even though like all of the pandas are dead. Where we at? Shendao sits. Okay, we're at 12 distress. 10, 11. Alright, so now we're at good tempered for Shendao sits. Let's see where these other guys at. Shendao 1 is good tempered. Shendao 2 still has some time to go. Pretty sure good tempered means their distress is under 10. Shendao. Oh, gosh. Please, no more invaders. This is also why I like to do my things off map, because these are just really annoying. Like, they know that they have no chance. Alright, so now that the distress is low, they should be accumulating experience to their breakthrough. And as you can see, now that the distress is lower than 10, their mental state is at 500, they are now getting breakthrough progress. So, pretty much just have to wait these 7 days for this mind fast to end, and then I'll go off map to complete this. So, I think this is a point in which I'll, do a time skip and then show you guys what things look like once they get through these 7 days of cultivation. So I'll see you guys then. Alright, I'm back, and my Shendao disciples are almost done mind fasting, so I just wanted to wait until like right before mind fasting just so that you guys can see how it works in case you didn't see it earlier. So when mind fasting finishes, the disciples retain the mind fasting buff for however long they did mind fasting for. So I set my mind fasting to 7 days, so now my guys have a mind fasting stack that lasts for 7 days, and now the Shendao can actually move around and do other things other than just stand still and mind fast. And if we look at my Shendao right now, their current progress on their breakthrough, even though I did mind fast for 7 days, is right now it's 4.2 days, and then 3.9 days, and then 4.0 days, and then so on and so forth. So the current progress that they have for this breakthrough is not 7 days, because it took around like 2 to 3 days for them to get their distress under 10 so that they can even trigger the breakthrough requirements. But now that they passively have the mind fasting buff, I can now have my Shendao go to Mount Coppertomb and then complete the breakthrough there. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to send all of my Shendao into Mount Coppertomb. And then we're going to do the breakthrough over there. The special hyperbolic time chamber. So this is going to save me about like 6 days in game, I guess, which isn't too big considering I'm on day 549, but I'm really thinking about doing Shendao like earlier than this, and I think it would be very helpful to save 6 days if you're doing it early Shendao. So now that we're in Mount Coppertomb, I do want to stay on restrained, or maybe I want to stay on balance, I don't know. I guess it doesn't really matter because my divinity increases will not have a lasting effect since I'm off map. So this would really matter if you were working with the higher divinity. Then you would definitely want to go switch to balance for this, and you wouldn't have to worry about losing your leisure bar while off map on balance. So let's see, Shendao 1 is at 56 leisure, so if I switch my guy to balance, then as you can see their leisure bar won't be interesting. I was wrong. So the leisure bar actually does go down. So I guess it's the energy bar that doesn't go down. I don't know. So yeah, the leisure bar actually does go down. So yeah, you will still need to have that talisman. I stand corrected on that. So yeah, we pretty much just wait for the remaining of the 6 days to get through the breakthrough. And my Shendao has a natural mental state of 500 because I went back to the still stage to increase it to that. and the mental state may be reduced by a little bit more because some of them do not have 8 intelligence, so it might be a little bit less than 500, like maybe 5 or 495. And then besides that, all of my Shendaos have 2 obsessions, so their mental state is sitting at about 445 because they also have a base mental state of 5, so they're at 505 basically, minus 60 mental state. So then when I get to this breakthrough, I'm pretty much starting off at 445, and then I have 3 talismans equipped, which are adding 50 plus 63, which is 113, and then this is adding 37, so I'm getting a total of 150 mental state. So they should actually end up at around 495 mental state when they get through this breakthrough, which definitely isn't enough to do the next stage breakthrough. But I'm also curious, so let me just go back to my notes to see if I could possibly do the other mental state breakthrough if I had more mental state. So I'm pulling up my cell sheet. I just have everything in here. So the next breakthrough will require the Shendao to have less than 40 divinity, and they also need to have low distress. And then this breakthrough is based on their luck divided by 100. So I don't think that this is possible for me to just jump and do this one as well, just because when you're off map, it's really hard to keep low distress. So right here, if my distress is lower than 50, then I'll start to lose mental state, and if it's greater than 50, then I'll start to gain mental state. So the distress, or if it's greater than 50, then I'll lose mental state, and if it's lower than 50, then I'll gain mental state. So if the distress is greater than 50, which it definitely will be while off map, then my Shendao will start to lose mental state, and then I believe that in this breakthrough the Shendao will lose like anywhere between like 1 to around like up to like 5 mental state per day, and I just don't have enough mental state to survive that for as many days as this breakthrough takes, because this breakthrough does take the longest time. But you definitely want to, for this breakthrough, you would definitely want to do some mind fasting so that your mental state doesn't change, and then do indulgence off map, I guess, because if you do indulgence on map, then you may run the risk of getting that anxious obsession, as I explained earlier. So my Shendaos are just going through this breakthrough, but you know, I'll be able to show you guys pretty much how to properly get through that breakthrough in the next video. So besides that, my Shendaos, they do have Bane and Eternity pills. Alright, I was just looking at the Bane and Eternity pills just to see if I can increase my Shendaos luck, because this guy has 4 luck, meaning that their breakthrough would take 25 days and so on. So my Shendaos are getting to the end of this breakthrough. I think just Shendao 4 and Shendao 2. Alright, so my Shendaos have broken through, and they are now at the empty stage, and now they have 596 mental state, which is around where I estimated that they would be. So I have 2 options, which are for me to try to do this breakthrough again with the base mental state of 500, or I can go back to the still stage and increase my base mental state to 600, and then do the breakthrough at a more safer pace. So as you can see, because these guys have lower distress because they already have been mind fasted, their inclination is better. However, they do have the mind fasting debuff, so they're not even losing or gaining mental state, and that's why I referenced possibly mind fasting for longer while doing the other breakthrough, because you could do those in a row if you had enough time. But this breakthrough requires 24 days of this disciple, so you have the mind fast for 24 days, so you would still be losing some days, whereas it would take way less than 24 days in order for you to go down to the still stage and then re-increase your Shendao's mental state to be 600 at base without talismans. Especially if you're just using one Shendao. It might take me a longer time because I have 6 Shendaos at once right now. But just looking through all these disciples, like this guy has 24 days breakthrough. This one right here has 24 days. This one has 18 days. So 24 days is probably between like 4 and 5 luck. And I could reduce his breakthrough time by equipping a heavensent talisman as well. But that would also make me not be using a mental state talisman, and then they would lose mental state over time. So those are all just things to consider. So I'm going to bring my Shendao back into the sect. And by the way, Shendaos don't need to be max power in order to be really strong. Around this point is when most people stop cultivating their Shendaos, just because most people don't know about using the sect leader debuff, and they just use the branch leader debuff, so the amount of mental state that they're able to reduce their Shendao by is very limited. So most people usually stop around here, and then they still have a pretty good Shendao disciple. So right here, now that we're in the 500 through 600 mental state range, we can now control 1 million population, and then once we get to the 600 to 700 range, we'll be able to control 2 million population, which will double our effort. So I definitely want to get there. And then I could also do these detachment tribulations. However, I really believe that the sect leader and the branch leader debuff are just super duper powerful, so there's really no need for me to even remove obsessions, especially as long as I don't have this anxious obsession, which could definitely change the course of things. So I think I'm really good where I'm at right now, and in the next video I'll show you guys pretty much how I would reduce my mental state so that I can increase my base mental state to 600, and then I will go back into, I will remove the debuffs from the sect leader and the branch leader debuff, and show you guys how to get through this last mental state breakthrough. So let me just first remove all of these mental state talismans on my disciple and just bring them back down, so that 445 and so on and so forth. So I'll do that, and then I'll remove I'll have the branch leader and the sect leader debuffs active as well in the next video. But yeah, anyways, thank you for watching, and I hope you learned a lot. In this video I've pretty much covered how to get through the wise breakthrough, and I showed you guys the different resurrection miracles and other utility miracles that Shendao disciples can use. And I also showed you guys just how you can set up different guards and the power of the meditation miracle that you unlock at the Ghost Messenger breakthrough point, which was in the Divine Realm stage. So yeah, thank you for watching. I hope we learned a lot, and I hope you enjoyed watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Later.